Entrepreneurship is the backbone of most economies, driving innovation, job creation, and growth. However, many individuals with entrepreneurial aspirations struggle to unlock their full potential due to various factors, including lack of access to resources, limited networking opportunities, and inadequate mentorship. To run a thriving business, it is essential for aspiring entrepreneurs to have necessary tools, support, and guidance. Joining us via Zoom from Canada is an entrepreneur and innovator, Folajomi Adegbulugbe. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and then just, be able to share one or two things about my ideas around entrepreneurship.
Thank you very much. Nigeria has its own peculiarities when it comes to entrepreneurship as against what you see in Canada. But talk to us how, startups, if I may call that, or entrepreneurs who are looking to delve into this market can start their business and navigate the waters that they are facing in Nigeria.
Definitely. Just to, sort of correct a little bit, I'm very much 100% doing business in Nigeria.
Okay.
Not so much in Canada, even though at the moment I'm currently sort of in Canada. Starting business in Nigeria is sort of like, it's an interesting one, especially in a country where there's myriad or like there's just a lot of problems that can be solved. There's a lot of problems that, exist amongst the people. And I think that's where, entrepreneurs need to start from. We need to start to look in and see where are we finding problems? What are the people facing? Like, you earlier mentioned there's sort of like issues around electricity. Are there ways that we can also sort of navigate those kind of problems and then find solutions? And I know a lot of people doing things around, solar powered or um, alternative ways to generate power. And those are the kind of things that entrepreneurs need to look inward and look at to sort of solve those problems. And I think that's how, we can navigate and, be able to solve a lot of problems as we move forward. And once you start to solve problems, you then can then, we can then talk about sort of business models and, value creation that ensures that, those businesses are successful.
Absolutely. Solving your own internal problem is one thing. Another thing is for you to also look for ways to attract foreign investors to your own business. For instance, what strategies do you think are there for entrepreneurs to explore when it comes to having access to funding? Because one of the challenges they face is funding. So what do you think they can do to attract both internal and external funders?
Yeah, like I said, straight to the point is you still have to go back to the drawing board. If you're solving a problem that people would pay money for, that's the first way to go. And while investors want to see that you have a track record of already solving a problem and there are people who are willing to pay for that problem. And I think one of the things that you can just is once you start your business, have data. Just be able to provide enough information in and around what you're doing, how you're doing it, and who is paying for it. And those are the kind of things that, I've seen as I've, looked around businesses and I'm trying to solve or trying to invest in businesses as well. Because I also do some investing. Do I have enough data to make a decision to be able to see if, this person is going to solve a problem that I'm willing to give them money for? And I think that will be very big for entrepreneurs as we move forward. Take a look at, ensure once you start your business or once you're in business, you're capturing data that when someone wants to invest in you, when they take a look at your business, they're willing to understand, your business very well and are willing to put in money for that. And I think that's for me, that's like the first thing is, am I taking a look at a business that has the right data, that has the right information, that is solving the right problem for the people and people are willing to pay for? Because the thing about it is, once you request for funding, there's probably a reason, which is around sort of marketing, which is around sort of being able to build or expand operations of your business. And sometimes it's also to sort of like even build, your first prototype or build, the initial business. But for most investors, you want to see a track record that whoever you're investing money into has, the ability and the potential to be able to solve the problems that they say they're solving, and so on, or people are already willing to pay for that for that product or for the service that you're rendering. So very shortly is ensure that you have data, ensure that you have information about your business, that you're capturing that data as you're moving along. Ensure that you're actually solving a pain point that people are willing to pay for, and potentially you are already solving the problem. So you've bootstrapped, you've got it started with the limited resources you have, and you're resilient. And also, most investors, whether it's foreign or internal, we're always looking at, the entrepreneur itself. What has the person done? How is the person taking a look at challenges? What's their mindset like? How are they able to sort of navigate difficulty? If there's an issue with the business, are they likely to run away, or they're likely to sort of stay in there, try to solve the problem and get things working? I think, just those few points will be my pointers to any entrepreneur looking for international, looking for funding internally as well. And I think that's also reliant on what the bank will always look for, even when they want to give you debt. It's still the same set of things they want to see, is outside of collateral, of course, but just on the very, very fundamentals is, what are you solving? Are people willing to pay for it? And what does the data, that is your bank records or your sort of financial information, say about your business?
Interesting. The market out there is quite competitive, and positioning yourself strategically is critical. So how would you say perhaps entrepreneurs, startups can position themselves, have a strong brand identity such that they can be reckoned with?
That's going to be an ongoing, it's almost a subjective conversation around sort of personal branding of the entrepreneur himself or the people, and of course a strong marketing or a strong sales team. The team that the entrepreneur is working with is going to be very important as they build a brand, right? I'm seeing and I'm looking at strategies around how businesses can come together in communities to then push themselves, to then become, to be seen in a wider audience. There's definitely a lot of competition to be had around sort of, how are businesses marketing themselves? What are they doing about the branding in modern era to be seen and to be liked by the people that they're trying to solve problems for? Again, this is a very dynamic question to sort of answer. The reason why it's dynamic to answer is just, because different businesses will have different ways to sort of position themselves to sort of do, sort of branding, and then to sort of also be able to get the visibility they need. But just off the bat, I'm looking at the community approach. Can we band together as a couple of businesses trying to do things and also push ourselves, into new media using sort of social media channels, personal branding of the entrepreneurs and the entities inside the business as well gives a very strong indication for most businesses. Because again, when I'm trying to do business with anyone or with any business as it were, I often want to know the people I'm doing business with, and the personal brand, the strength of those people often at times is a convincing factor. So community-based approach in one leg, also personal branding across board for the team members of each of the businesses and for the entrepreneur leading those businesses, I think will be key and will be something sort of like interesting to look at moving forward.
Interesting. So let's get a bit practical. For instance, I saw a video on IG a few days ago of a lady who said she's selling Zobo, and then she got that knowledge from when she was serving, with the NYC. But I know that back in the day, or maybe currently, there are schools that offer EED, that's entrepreneurial development. So what is the connection between the town and the gown? How practical is that relationship between the town and the gown when it comes to what you're taught in school in terms of entrepreneur and what you do outside to become your own boss?
Yes. I think there's huge differences between what's in the book and what happens on ground on the everyday, trying to solve problems. Again, we're in a very dynamic country as it were, and then things are interesting and things happen in interesting ways. Cost goes up, sometimes it comes down, and there are definitely ways that we need to navigate through these problems. In terms of like differences and in sort of like getting practical, I think whatever it's in the book, often at times, very important. Not often actually, all the time, very important. But then entrepreneurs that are smart and entrepreneurs who will thrive and be successful need to put in the context of the the locality they're in and the context of the community they're serving. What you can do is, once you take a look at the context of where you are and the problems you're solving, it allows you to be able to innovate around your business model. Potentially, being able to price your product appropriately, potentially also being able to understand how you market your products, right? So for example, the person who starting a Zobo business, after learning, how to sort of how to make Zobo, that person would definitely need to take a look at, in the locality you're in, are people actually drinking Zobo? Do they drink, what quantity are they drinking? If you're trying to serve them with a small bottle when they actually drink in a large quantity, you might potentially be pricing yourself away. As well as also to look at the competitors, right? There's definitely someone in and around you doing something or providing a similar service. And, you want to also put that into context. Just to sort of put it in light of just what I just mentioned is, you take a look at competition, you take a look at your locality and the community you're in. There's definitely something in there that sort of slightly or might slightly deviate from what you've learned from the books. But often at times, the books is a very good foundation to understand the concepts around you and be able to apply things that are nouveau and things that are new to solving problems that have existed for such a long time.
Now, looking at the current business environment in Nigeria, a lot of persons are looking for cost-effective strategies such that in the process, they are still, optimizing profit and then still cutting down cost at the end of the day. What would be your suggestion for startups who are looking to do that, ensure that they manage cost but optimize profit?
Yes, what I would advise is definitely once you can retain, because there's a part of also retaining your business is important. Once you can retain your businesses, your revenue isn't dropping. There are definitely things that you can look inward and cut costs with. Especially, and not to put any particular examples, but usually technology tools are starting to get expensive. By the time you take a look at all the subscriptions that you're doing, there are definitely some cuts you can make in there. The other things that you can also take a look at outside of sort of like the different expense buckets that you have is also taking a look at how are the people or your team that you have generating more revenue for you. And I think that's how you can optimize for profits, is if you can't take costs down so much, that is, you've taken a look at your technology stack, you've taken a look at, sort of like the different costs entities in your business. You then want to take a look at, can I generate more revenue while I still retain the same cost bracket that I'm in? That's the way you can then, increase, sort of like the bucket for yourself. What I'm definitely doing at the moment is taking a look at where are the alternatives to a lot of the tools that I'm using. If I'm using a technology stack that potentially is more expensive, is there a local alternative that I have that I can use? Are there businesses within Nigeria, or are there friends and families who are doing the same things that I can leverage their tools? Can I come together in a community and see what tools are available that we can all share together in? And, that can come from, cloud services, can come from so many things that we can all use together within a pool. And I think that's part of what has driven me in terms of building an incubator and also being able to sort of pull businesses together, pull entrepreneurs together, and then we can then invest in, we can then together grow and use resources together, which then pulls down our cost, allows us to then generate a lot more profits. And I think, if businesses or entrepreneurs come together and do that more often, I think that might be a way to go as we move forward.
Absolutely. Large corporations and small businesses are also facing similar problem of the Japa syndrome, where you have, talents moving out of the country. Very quickly, in less than a minute if you can, what kind of innovative approaches do you think entrepreneurs can leverage to retain talent within the country so that they will have, global competitiveness within their businesses and environment?
Pay people well, pay them well. Again, just listening to your previous conversation, Osimhen is getting paid a lot and he does want to reduce his wages. People want to get paid well and they want to get paid something that allows them to sort of live well within the country or the community that they've chosen to be in.
All right, we'll have to leave the conversation here now. We must thank you, entrepreneur and innovator Folajomi Adegbulugbe. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.